Welcome back to Circle of Vitality. Today we're going to make a cooked dish. So far all of the food that we've made in this challenge has been raw or uncooked anyway. So today we're going to make sweet potato black bean quinoa tacos. They're really delightful. They are vegan, so there's no animal products in it, but they are an amazing dish that you can make for family who aren't sure about being plant-based or about eating healthy, and they'll never miss the meat. We're going to start off with some vegetable broth. Today I'm just using a low sodium vegetable broth, an organic one. And I'm just pouring a little bit in the pan. You know, you can start with a half a cup or so. And I have sweet potato that's been peeled and diced. This is 2 sweet potatoes, so it's probably about 3 or 4 cups. And we're going to put that in. We want to get that cooking because it takes a little bit. And we're going to put diced onion in with it at the same time. And some diced red bell pepper. You could use yellow bell pepper, orange if you want it, but since we have the orange sweet potatoes, I thought red would be nice. Now this will cook down some, so I'm probably going to go ahead and the broth will cook down. I'm going to go ahead and add a little more broth and get this going. If you want, and I will go ahead and add just, this is melted coconut oil. You can see some of it's not melted yet. Coconut oil is solid until 76 degrees, and when it gets hotter than that, then it becomes liquid. So I'm just going to put about a tablespoon of coconut oil in there. It just has a really nice flavor. And we're going to just let this cook down until the sweet potatoes are soft. And we're just going to put a lid on it for a minute and try to get that cooking. All right, quinoa is a pseudo grain. It's kind of like a rice. When it's cooked, it's got little tiny tails on it. It almost looks like fish eyes or tapioca when you look at it real closely. But it's just a real fine grain. For people who have gluten intolerance or celiac disease, quinoa works really well because there's no gluten in it. But it's high in protein. They call this an ancient grain because it's what people could live off years ago. The Aztec Indians supposedly lived off quinoa. But it's a great source of protein, easily digested in your system, and it goes well with anything. So you can eat it cold, you can eat it like rice, you can put it in different dishes. And then we just have some black beans that have been rinsed and drained. Normally I like to cook my own, but these are canned today. So we're going to go ahead and prepare our cilantro we'll put this in at the end. And again, I like to just pull it off the stems as much as possible. You can save some of the cilantro for a garnish if you'd like. And then we're also going to have lime for garnish. I'm just going to give it a rough chop. Since it's a cooked dish, it definitely will break down once it's in there, so I'm not real concerned about chopping them small. Okay, and then this pan, I'm going to go ahead and start. Turn this on. We're going to use corn tortillas. These are non-GMO. You know, organic tortillas are always non-GMO, and some of them say that they're non-GMO. These are really nice, thick ones. But what I'm going to do is just spread a little bit of coconut oil on it. I'm just going to put a little bit on each side. If you have a pastry brush, you could just put a little bit on there. And I'm just going to stick it in here. Usually I like these as soft tacos, but the last time I made them, I forgot my tortilla in the skillet, and it got really crispy like a tostada. And that has become my new favorite way of eating them. I love tostadas, so I will eat these. Sometimes I will even not warm this up when I eat it. I'll pull it out of the fridge for leftovers and just eat it on a crispy corn tortilla or a lettuce wrap even. So So you can see we've got lots of color in there and it's cooking. Give that a little more time. So we'll get that going. We'll just do a couple tortillas. We'll put the quinoa and the beans in toward the end, after the sweet potatoes are done, just so they don't get overcooked. I think I'm going to go ahead and add the spices. We're going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of cumin, which 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon, so that's a lot. We're going to add 2 tablespoons to start with. And then garlic, a teaspoon. It's 4 swirls of this kind. And this calls for oregano. Oregano is good in chilies. I always use oregano in chilies and in some Mexican food. It just goes well. I never would have thought it, but put a teaspoon of that in. And if you want it to add pepper, you can. Put a teaspoon of sea salt. Onions are very sweet, and the sweet potatoes are sweet, so this does have a sweet flavor to it. And so with the lime and the cilantro, it's really amazing. Now, earlier in the challenge, we made chipotle sour cream with cashews. And that's really good with this. If you make the cashew-based chipotle sour cream and put it on your taco shell first and then fill it, it's amazing. Now, I wanted to talk to you today about sleep. A lot of people in our society today, we're busy and we get to bed late, we get up early, we're tired, and we don't get good sleep. And a lot of times, even when we do sleep, we don't sleep well and we wake tired. You know, our bodies, everything in life is cyclical or has a rhythm to it. You know, we have the sun and the moon, we have the tides. Our bodies are rhythmic also. And, you know, the seasons, that's the way God designed the world, the way He designed us. Studies have shown that the more consistent you can be with your bedtime and the more consistent you can be with the time you get up in the morning, the better your body's going to function, the better your metabolism's going to be, the better it's going to work with digestion and healing and everything else that goes on in your body. And that's one of the things that I've gotten off in my life with busyness is I get to bed late and I get up early. Friends know that they can call me at 11 or 12 or text me and I'll be up, and they know if they do the same thing at 5 or 6 I'm up. And so I'm changing that now. I'm trying to be in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I still am sleeping. I only sleep for 5 or 6 hours, but I wake refreshed and rested. And I'm trying to be consistent in that. And I've noticed a difference in how I feel, that I do wake refreshed and that my body is starting to function better. Weight gain is huge when you don't sleep. People don't realize that if you're constantly tired, exhausted, physically or emotionally, it's going to affect your weight. And since that's what this program is about, we're trying to lose weight, trying to get healthy, trying to change our lifestyle. That's one of the things you really need to take into consideration is your sleep and your sleep patterns. Try not to be on the computer in bed. If you need to read or have some quiet time before bed, that's good. But it's called sleep hygiene. Develop good sleep hygiene. What are you going to do before bed? You know, in our harried life, it's really, it is a challenge to try to get into habits that are good for us because of busyness. But I have found that when I've been doing this, just especially in the past month, I've really been making an effort. And I've enjoyed making progress. I've enjoyed being successful in getting to bed earlier, making those decisions. I start thinking, at 4 in the afternoon, I start thinking about my evening, what I have to accomplish in order to allow me to get in my bed by 9:30 or 10. And so it just added more value to my life, more value to the lives of people around me, because I'm more rested, I'm healthier. So I encourage you this week to really think about your sleep if you haven't already processed that. This is cooking nicely. I'm going to taste a sweet potato and see if it's done. Ooh. Almost. I'm going to add just a little more broth. So I've probably used 1.5 cups of broth altogether. Maybe not quite that much. Because this was still cooked down a little bit. Okay, our tortilla is getting warm. They don't have to, these tortillas, a lot of corn tortillas are really dry, and so they need the coconut oil. These are really pliable, so you probably wouldn't even have to use the coconut oil. Just warming them makes them softer. All right, I think this is probably cooked enough. I'm going to go ahead and add the cilantro in. And I'm going to put the beans in so they can get warmed through. I know the recipe calls for 1 can of beans. I put 2 cans in today just because it didn't look like it was going to be enough. I think the sweet potatoes I had were bigger. But look how delightful that looks, all the colors. It just reminds me of summer. This actually kind of looks like fall, but it's good any time of year. Again, this makes great leftovers. It tastes just as good on day 2 as it did on day 1, if you have leftovers. Almost. Okay, we're going to switch out tortillas. See, it's gotten just a little bit brown. So this is perfect. I'm going to cut up a little bit more cilantro for the garnish and cut up some lime. You can put tomatoes on this if you wanted. You can put lettuce. I do like some shredded lettuce sometimes. Romaine is my favorite. Get that cleaned up. Okay, and then lime. We're just going to cut wedges of these. Well, you can just squirt the lime on your taco when the time is there. You could also put, if you wanted salsa on this, you'll have to taste it. It's a very unique flavor, but it's delightful. But you could put salsa on it if you wanted. I think the lime and cilantro bring out the flavors that are in it. If you wanted more spice, you could put some cayenne, which I might put just a couple sprinkles of cayenne, or you could put jalapeno in it. And make it the spice level that you like. Okay, I think that is ready for the quinoa. So this is 2 cups of quinoa cooked, and it made a lot more. The way you cook quinoa is 2 cups of boiling water with 1 cup of quinoa. You put it in, let it boil, and then turn it down and put a lid on it and turn it off after just a couple of minutes as the water starts to decrease. And then you just fluff it with a fork. So that was just, you could even use a 1/2 cup of quinoa would make more than you need for this recipe. So this is high in protein because of the beans and the quinoa. Flip that again. Okay, so all you have to do is take your taco shell. Again, if you wanted to make this crispy, you could do that. Just leave it in the pan longer. There's something about soft tacos, though. Put some cilantro on it. Take your lime wedge. Just squirt some lime juice on there. You are ready to eat. So this is a quick meal. It doesn't take that long to make. And it's something that you could do ahead of time and warm up very quickly, preferably in a pan like this and not a microwave. And take it to a potluck sometime. Serve it when you have family over who aren't quite sure about eating healthy, or friends, and see how you can start to change their thoughts about healthy eating. So again, make better choices today so tomorrow can be your best so you can live in optimum health. Have a great week, and remember, get the sleep that you need.